Greetings. Welcome to our weekly word. It's kind of weekly. Last week there wasn't one. I was on vacation and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you also get a break from your normal routines upon occasion and enjoy them as well. Today I want to come to you from the book of Proverbs, chapter 9. And we're going to be reading the first chunk and the last chunk and skipping the middle part. Because what we're going to be looking at is the comparison and contrast of the personification of folly and wisdom. And in the book of Proverbs, wisdom is synonymous with righteousness, folly with sinfulness. And so as we read through this, I want you to hear the description of the female that is personifying wisdom and the female that is personifying folly. And we're going to be looking at the comparison, which is those things that are the same or similar. And then we're going to also be looking at the contrast, which is those things that are dissimilar or maybe even opposite of each other, and try to take a point or two away from that for how we should live our lives. So it says, wisdom has built her house. She has set up its 7 pillars. She has prepared her meat and mixed her wine. She has also set her table. She has sent out her servants, and she calls from the highest point of the city. Let all who are simple come to my house. To those who have no sense, she says, come, eat my food and drink the wine I have mixed. Leave your simple ways and you will live. Walk in the way of insight. And then we're going to skip some wisdom proverbs that are stated in the middle. And then there's a description of folly. Folly is an unruly woman. She is simple and knows nothing. She sits at the door of her house on a seat at the highest point of the city, calling out to those who pass by, who go straight on their way. Let all who are simple come to my house. To those who have no sense, she says, stolen water is sweet. Food eaten in secret is delicious. But little do they know that the dead are there, that her guests are deep in the realm of the dead. So what do they have in common? Well, common, they're both females. It doesn't really much matter. The book of Proverbs is written in the perspective of a father teaching a son how he should live. And so the appeal of different kinds of women is cast in that context. The other thing that they have in common is that they're both calling out from the highest part of the city. Same location. They're both inviting the simple, you could say naive, the gullible, the young, to some degree, to come to their home, to come to their house. So they each have a house. They're inviting them both to eat of their fare. They both say the same thing. Let all who are simple come to my house. And they're both speaking to those who have no sense, the young, the naive. What is dissimilar? What is the contrast going on here? Well, number one, you realize that wisdom is pretty active. In this description, wisdom has built her house. She has hewn out its 7 pillars, prepared her meat, mixed her wine, and set her table, and she sent out her servants. Now, we have no description of folly having servants. We have no idea if folly does have servants or not, but we do know that wisdom does. Folly, in contrast, sits at the door of her house and calls out from there. What else is a contrast? Well, wisdom calls out to share in the results of her labor, her own food that she's prepared at her own table that she has set, to drink of her wine that she has mixed, to leave their simple ways. They're being called to change. That's also different. Folly says instead that stolen water is sweet. Well, number one, that means it's not your own. You're stealing it, obviously. But she's also, can you imagine the contrast here? Wisdom has mixed her wine, and folly is trying to convince the passerby that water is just as good because it's sweet if it's stolen water. It's a charlatan, if you will. She's doing a sales job. She also says similarly that food eaten in secret is delicious. This in secret is in comparison with stolen water. So in other words, she's not offering them anything of her own. She has nothing to offer. She's produced nothing. All she's doing is calling them to live the same kind of life that she is living, which is described as simple. So she's calling to her bedfellows, to her peers. Continue to live this way. Stay simple. Sit down. Steal from people secretly. Enjoy that. It's so much better because you just have to sit down. Folly is calling out to the simple, of which she is one. Wisdom is calling to people that are different and calling them to live differently, but is offering them freely of what she has made and created. Application. The young, the naive, the gullible, the simple, however you want to describe these individuals, have a choice to make. They are the distinguishing mark here, is the choice. You too have a choice. You get to choose whether to live like wisdom or like folly. And I have to ask you, do you yearn to just sit down and do nothing? Now, as a break, as a respite, as a Sabbath, if you will, that's good and godly. I mean, after all, I took a vacation last week. But you have to earn your rest to live as a wise person. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, and on the seventh day you shall rest. Or do you simply find ways to get out of doing the things you know you should do and simply sit down? The other thing I would ask is, do you seek out the companionship, the company of people who have seemed to have their lives together better than yours so you can learn from them? Or do you simply seek out to stay with your peers so that you're never challenged? A word to the wise. That's what it means. This word is to you. And you get to determine whether you're wise or not by whether you heed it and are grateful for it or not. Because a mocker and a fool will scorn wisdom. A wise person hears it and is grateful for it and grows wiser still. So which are you? Are you wisdom or are you folly? Or are you the simple seeking to make their lives and their ways in the world? Well, I would say in some ways, you're 2 out of 3. There's always more we can learn. There's always more we can do. There's always more we can grow. There's always people out there that can help us and train us and equip us to be better us. But you also are setting an example and being an influence for someone else. Is your influence more like wisdom, righteousness? Or is your influence more like folly, sinfulness? I don't know. You're on the other side of a camera. But I do know that all of us need to heed the call of wisdom and scorn the call of folly. Get to work so you can enjoy your rest and even invite others over to enjoy your rest with you and to share your meat and your wine and your table and your companionship. I hope this has been a blessing to you, and I hope that you have enjoyed it. But ultimately, I pray that you'll apply it. May our great God and King bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And may you live a life that gives grace to others. Thank you.